tried to roast some buffalo meat. She made some different mixtures of food, but the little girls just wouldn't eat. You can imagine it's totally foreign to them to eat something.
And they were scared to death.
Yeah, scared.
I'm going to interrupt you right there.
This is a good spot.
Being scared is a good spot to have a commercial, okay? Stay tuned for more Dr. History, and we'll be back with him in just a moment. Don't forget, Dr. History is brought to you every single week by Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley. Zach Attack, there is a great gentleman. Zach and the rest of his crew, I'll tell you what, they've got all the items you need for spring remodeling, whether it's lumber packages, wanting to fix your roof. They've got all the shingles at the best prices. I mean, they've got all your windows. If you're upgrading your windows on your home, holy cow, they've got carpet, all kinds of carpet. You'd better call them today, 878-2091, or stop in at 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport. Minnecasia Sales, and they've even got Tartar Farm and Ranch equipment, too. The best, Minnecasia Sales. And now, without further ado, here's Dr. History.
Okay. For the German girls, this trip south was rough. The Indians kept running across tracks made by the soldiers looking for them. The warrior and his wife, or Indian wife, were caring for the two younger girls. They began to grow tired of the children, the two youngest ones. Well, finally, not far from where Pampa, Texas stands today. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I've been there. Pampa, Texas, many times. Yep.
Well, the two Indians simply left the two young German girls on the plains and continued on their way.
Oh, they left them there?
Just dropped them off. So here it was, 7-year-old Julia and 5-year-old Nancy to fare for themselves.
Oh, my goodness.
Nobody around for miles around.
Oh, my goodness sakes.
Well, after the Indians rode off, the little girls wandered until they found a wagon trail. They followed it to a creek, found an old camp used by soldiers, perhaps a week or more earlier. The two girls found some old hardtack, some corn, some meat scraps that had been left.
They were lucky.
They were. And with these, plus wild grapes, huckleberries, wild onions, and young blades of grass.
Stop right there. Really, think about 7- and 5-year-olds of today. Would they have the moxie and the wherewithal to do that?
Well, first of all, to know what to eat and what not to eat.
There you go.
That's growing out on the plains.
Absolutely.
So 5-year-old and 7-year-old Julia and Nancy,
wow,
they were able to stay alive. Now, meantime, the Indians with the two older German girls had arrived at Stone Calf's main Cheyenne camp of about 300 lodges, and probably somewhere in northeastern New Mexico. Well, there the two older German girls were separated and forced to do the work of Indian women. They gathered firewood, they sewed shirts and dresses with bone needle and thread of buffalo sinew, and cooked food. But not many days after arriving in camp, word reached Stone Calf that the military was demanding the return of the four girls. So at once, he gave orders to go find the two younger girls that were left out on the prairie.
Now, did he know that they were left there originally?
He must have, must have known that.
All right.
So anyway, a party of about 200 Cheyenne finally located the little girls in a makeshift camp by the creek. The girls were still alive, weak but still alive. So the following day, as the Indians were returning to Stone Calf with the two children, a detachment of nearly 100 soldiers under the command of a Lieutenant Baldwin saw the Indians and attacked. Now, the battle lasted 5 hours. Some of the Indians escaped, but the two girls were rescued.
Really?
Yeah. Their cheeks were hollow, and they were almost starved, but they were alive. So, anyway, the soldiers took them back to camp, and there the officers' wives fed and clothed them and began nursing the little girls back to health. And later they were taken north to Fort Dodge, Kansas, and then to Fort Leavenworth on the Missouri River.
I'll be.
Now, back at Stone Calf's camp on the plains, a Mexican trader saw the two older German girls as he passed through the camp one day. So when the trader told Army camp,
You want to try that again?
Let me run that by you again.
I'd like to hear that one more time.
Here we go. When the trader told Army scouts, General Nelson Miles lost no time in sending a message to Stone Calf demanding that the Indians surrender and return the two captives alive.
I see.
So, the winter of 1874 was cold and it was rough on the southern plains. The Indians had not received their usual supplies from the government. Even their horses were suffering, and so it didn't take Stone Calf long to realize it would be best to surrender. So, but another lesser chief by the name of Graybeard, who was holding 12-year-old Sophia, held out for better terms. Well, Stone Calf sent 5 Indians to Fort Sill, Indian Territory, to see what kind of terms they might get. In other words, they were kind of holding them for ransom, really.
Okay.
So the Indian who delivered the message was one of several sent to Stone Calf's camp by General Miles with provisions, blankets, and cloth in hopes of tempting the Indians to release the girls. Now, it may have been this tempting or continued bad weather or something else that changed Graybeard's mind, but within a short time he agreed to surrender. And in February of 1875, Stone Calf, the other chiefs, and 1,600 Cheyenne surrendered at Cheyenne Agency, Indian Territory, and Catherine and Sophia were released.
Really?
Now, Catherine German weighed 80 pounds, Sophia 60 pounds.
Wait a minute, how old were they?
They were, 15 and 17?
Oh, my goodness. They were virtually starved to death.
Yeah, so they were taken to the mission school where they remained for some time. And
oh, my.
It was there they were told about their parents, their brother, and their 2 sisters that were killed in the Indian raid.
Wow.
And when the summer of 1875 arrived, Catherine and Sophia were taken to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, where they were reunited with their 2 younger sisters, who had since recovered from their ordeal.
And they had no clue they were still alive.
No.
Yeah.
No. So now Congress actually appropriated $2,500 each for Nancy and Julia, the interest to be used for education and maintenance until they became of age, when the principal would go back to them.
Wow.
Now, for the older girls, Catherine and Sophia, they were given $10,000. Now, that was a lot of money back in 1874.
Yeah.
But the money was taken from government funds appropriated for the Cheyennes. So.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, for a while, the German sisters lived with a family in Kansas. Julia and Nancy later were graduated from high school. Nancy attended the University of Kansas and later married a farmer in Kansas, became the mother of 11 children.
Now, she must have lived until at least, the early 1900s.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Catherine married a guy and lived in California. She died in 1932.
Oh, my.
Sophia married a guy and spent most of her life on a farm in Nebraska, and she died in 1947.
That's the year I was born, by the way.
Not that long ago.
You were born a lot earlier.
Nice try. Julia married another guy and lived in California. She died in 1959 at the age of 92.
Oh, my goodness sakes.
So she was the last of the 4 German sisters who survived the Indian raid of 1874.
Now, did each one of them, did they keep a diary or write an account of what they remembered that happened?
You know, I'm not sure. I'm thinking that some of them did write it.
Yeah.
And, of course, what I've told is just kind of a synopsis
yeah.
of what happened to the whole family.
But, that was not a unusual occurrence on the plains, especially in Kansas and Nebraska and back in that area. The Cheyenne tribes and swooping down on wagon trains, etc. I mean, it was a kind of an everyday hazard.
And to take hostages or children.
Yeah, that surprises me.
Happened a lot, and in some cases, if that child stayed with the Indians for, say, 15 or 20 years or 30 years, when they were finally discovered, they didn't really want to go back.
There were a lot of movies and TV series that incorporated that same story, if you will, for the movie that was coming out or whatever. I'm trying to think of the one movie, who was that? Were the girls, John Wayne and the Searchers, I believe it was. Remember when the girl was captured and taken to the Comanche Indian tribes, etc., and they were sent to get her back, and she wasn't, I don't mean to sound negative when I say that, but her personality and everything had changed, so she didn't really want to come back.
Right.
Yeah.
They had grown up into Indian culture and oftentimes were married.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to show you a couple of pictures here.
Okay.
Here's a couple of the girls shortly after they were rescued.
Neither one is not attractive. I mean, they're both with a different hairstyle and a whole bunch of makeup. They'd be kind of attractive.
They are.
Yeah.
They just like sweet young teenagers.
Yeah. And they were 17 and 15.
12 and 17. Yeah.
Oh, hold on. We got a quick call. We've only got 3 minutes left. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, the movie you're referring to as Two Rode Together, Jimmy Stewart, Linda Crystal, and Richard Widmark.
And Richard Widmark, yes, that's right. And John Wayne searchers also look for and a girl that had been captured. Thank you, Al. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, bye.
All right, yeah, that's it. Two Rode Together.
Well, and then there's a lot of stories about. We don't have time to go into any of those, obviously, but I've read where some of them escaped and went miles and miles, hundreds of miles, to reach civilization.
You know, when you think about it, and I've only got a minute left here, Doc, but when you think about the situations of crossing the prairies or crossing the plains, crossing the Northwest, right here through Idaho, through the Snake River and everything, every day there was a challenge that maybe you wouldn't make it through.
Well, and these girls must have been taught by their parents how to survive.
Oh, my. Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. So what have you got cooking for next week?
That's a good question.
That's why I asked.
It'll be a surprise to both of us.
Do you have any updates on China that you want to share with us?
I still get a few emails from some of the Chinese students.
Right.
That,
the embassy hasn't severed relations with us.
We're still in contact.
Okay, that's good. Hey, listen, Dr. History is brought to you by Minnecasia Sales at 1321 East Main in Burley, right across from the airport. Good old Zach and the rest of the crew, boy, they got outstanding people there at Minnecasia Sales. You be sure and get a hold of them today or stop in at 1321 East Main or call them at 878-2091. Minnecasia Sales bringing you Dr. History. What are you doing now that you got home and you're retired, and you don't have anything to do? You just kind of laying in the lazy boy watching the soap operas or what?
Well, I treat a few patients here and there.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah. And still do a little woodworking and working on my garden.
You're a woodworker?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that. What have you? Now, you make those pens, huh?
Yeah, see that pen? That's made out of sagebrush.
Oh, my goodness sakes, you do a wonderful job. And thank you for not offering me one.
I gave you one.
I know you did. It's right here. I appreciate it. And what else are you doing in the old years of being retired?
Do a little bit of traveling. Went up to Boise over the weekend.
Still riding horses at all?
You know, I hate to admit it, but I haven't ridden for quite a while.
Oh, my goodness sakes. You got to get back in the habit.
I do.
Yeah.
Got all that gear, saddles and bridles, and no riding.
I was trying to think, you know what I'd like to talk about sometime on the program? Food. What they ate and how they prepared it.
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
Let's do one on food.
All right.
Due to the fact that right now I'm so doggone hungry, I could eat this microphone. Hey, thanks for coming by.
You bet. You have a good day, Zach.
I got to do a commercial. Dr. History. Everybody give him a round of applause. There you go. Hey, before we send it back over to our main studio, I want to remind you about Streamline Precision, 120 South, 100 West of Burley, right next to Dot Foods. You call Tim Vaughn today for your estimates on what you need them to build for you. Streamline Precision is a family of companies providing construction, excavation, and fabrication services, and the number 431-7314. 431-7314. And right now they're currently just finishing up building the brand new Funk Dairy straight south of me in Murtaugh. Excellent, excellent business, and they can help you. Streamline Precision, 431-7314. The professionals building for you. Right now, let's send it back over to our main studios. I'll be back in 3 minutes.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, thank you very much. Don't forget Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 West of Paul with a program on, when do we have that program? Thursday at 10:30, of course. Gardening for Idiots. It's named after me. I'm not a very good gardener. But I'll tell you what, I'm learning thanks to Vicky at Vicky's Country Garden, and she's got everything over there you need for your garden or your flower beds and dressing up all your property with the decorative rock and everything else. She's got it at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul, and the number to call, 438-5663. Don't forget Gardening for Idiots at 10:30 on Thursday. Okay. Let's go to the phone lines right now and say good morning to Kristy Dilworth right there in Burley. How are you, Kristy?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I am great. Now, what in the world? You're going to talk about the Idaho Regatta. What have you got to do with the regatta this year?
Well, I am chair or director over the regatta and over the committee, and I just kind of oversee planning and organizing the event.
Okay, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the 39th annual Idaho Regatta. What makes it so special to last 39 years?
Well, actually, it's even specialer, Zeb, because it's the 40th.
Oh, I've got last year's sheet you gave me. I'm sorry.
No, this year is our 40th annual race, and
okay.
we cannot be even, more excited than we are this year for this, I don't know, this year, I guess, this milestone.
Okay. Well, now when you talk about the regatta, and it always takes a lot of sponsors, it always takes a lot of money to put on an event that's going to be community-oriented, who do you want to thank for being maybe your large sponsor to help bring people out to the event?
We've had a lot of sponsors that have followed us through the years. Maverick was our last year's main sponsor of the Idaho Regatta, and they are back on with us this year. So Maverick Country Stores, thank you for them. Some of the other ones that have followed us are Budweiser Watkins Distributing out of Twin Falls, Idaho. We've got the Best Western and Budget Burley Inn, the Fairfield Inn in Burley. We've got Smith's Food and Drug. Oh gosh. Who else is on board? On board this year is a new sponsor, and that's Jack in the Box. So we're excited to have them on board.
All right, and let's Kristy, let's talk a little bit about the event. First of all, what are the dates for this year, 2015?
Yeah, the dates this year is June 26th, 27th, and 28th, 2015. It's that last full weekend of June, so you can kind of always count on the regatta being that last full weekend.
All right. Now, what about location? Where can people go to sit back, put some suntan screen on and all this kind of thing and just enjoy the regatta?
It's actually located at the Burley Golf Course Marina.
Okay.
Is where our race track and event is.
And now, let me ask you, these boats, I mean, for heaven's sakes, these are some big dudes, and they're coming in from all over the place. Share with us a little bit about some of the drivers and some of the boats, and how far are they coming from?
We have 60-plus boats that we're anticipating this year. They do come from all over the United States.
Oh, wow.
A majority of them are based West Coast, but we do have boats and race teams that come from out of Florida and in Maryland. One really exciting thing is we have two race teams that are going to be coming up all the way from Australia, and the boats are already in the United States right now. And it's a new race that we're actually having this year. It will be their second time ever racing in the United States, and that class is called the Australian 6-liter displaced boat class.
Okay. Now, Kristy, I'm pretty naive when it comes to boat racing. I love watching it on TV, etc. Is this some kind of a circuit that they follow for prize money and then points at the end of the year? Explain that to me.
Yeah, it is. Our race this year is going to be sanctioned by the APBA, which is the American Powerboat Association. It's a nationally sanctioned event, and racers race for points. And there's quite a few, I don't know the number, of races that actually are on that circuit that the race teams follow for points, and then eventually there's nationals. And Burley has hosted the nationals in the past, but we're not this year. But it's a really great organization. You can find them online at apba.org for more information, and we're really excited to be a part of them.
Okay, now, Kristy, I've got to ask you this now. Is it like a rodeo? They come here, they pay an entry fee, and then they race for the points, or do they make money here at this regatta, and then the cumulative type dollars go towards the year end? How does that work?
Okay. Well, how it works is, yes, they do fill out their entry blanks, and they get it sent in to us. There's a small registration fee. What's really unique about our race is we offer tow money So we ask them to pre-register so that it kind of commits them to our race, and then we turn around and over double that money and give it back to them just to say thanks for coming to our race.
Oh, I see.
Helps all the expenses of getting up here. It's a little bit out of the way of most of the other races, and they just our racers love coming here. We have racers that have come and been here every year, all 40 years.
Kristy, what makes the Snake River, and especially in that location, what makes it so special that they want to come here?
Well, by far, the venue that we do have the race at, the race at the Burley Golf Course Murray is just next to none. It is the best race course, just bar none, out there. Just the water, just the type of water we have, the area where the spectators and fans can sit and actually spectate the race itself. It's next to nothing like anything else out there. I mean, we are very unique to that. What's another thing that's very exciting about our race is our boats race around an island, and it kind of creates a little bit of excitement, wondering what's happening on the backside of that island. Sometimes I often wonder, those houses that are on the other side of the Snake River get the best view of that back part, because us over at the event site, we don't really get to see that.
Well, let me ask you, has anybody ever had kind of a problem with steering and ended up on the island?
Yeah, we have had that happen, I think, a couple of different occasions. Don't quote me on that, Zeb. But, yeah, I remember when I was younger, I wasn't really involved in the behind-the-scenes of the race, but just being there with my dad as a racer and on his, race crew. I remember there was a few times boats ended up on the island, and I'm sure that there are photos floating out there of one particular guy that comes to mind, just standing just kind of on his boat with his arms out in the air going, I don't know what happened.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, Kristy, why did you want to get involved in this? I mean, it's not an easy job. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of coordination. It takes a lot of effort. Why did you want to do this?
Well, let's just say it's in my blood, Zeb. My dad was one of the founders, along with Don Moyle. Glenn Dilworth is my dad, and it was Don Moyle and him that were the original people from Burley that got involved with getting the race going in the beginning. And I've been to the race all my life. So I can just say it's in my blood. I have a very passionate side for the race. I absolutely love it. I decided to get involved because I knew that Mark Moyle, the past chairman, had his time of running it, and I kind of felt like it was just my time. Mm-hmm. And that I needed to do this.
All right,
for my family and to continue the race.
Let me ask you this part of it then. It's not just going down to the river, and it's not just saying, gentlemen, start your engines and having a race. You've got a lot of pre-work to do with organization of possibly all the vendors and the ticket takers. How do you set that whole thing up, Kristy? That takes a lot of work.
It is. It's very time-consuming, and it does require a lot of time. I would say that I probably worked on the actual planning of it probably 8 months out of the year. 6 months of it is being really devoted to it. I've got a great team behind me at the Burley Regatta Committee. It's a nonprofit organization, mostly made up of local business, residents, and without their help, I wouldn't be able to do this, because it is a lot of planning and a lot of organizing, and but we've got a really great team together with that committee.
Okay.
And
Now, Kristy, let me ask you.
Do what we do.
Let me ask you this part of it for the regatta. And you know, you can't have an event without having people eat and enjoy the sunshine, etc. So I would imagine it takes a lot of a concentrated effort to set up the vendors and also your ticket takers. What about that?
Well, as far as vendors, we do have a lot of vendors that are repeat vendors that have come year after year. We're always looking for new vendors. You can get a hold of us off of our website, idahoregatta.org, or you can email me at idahoregatta@gmail.com.
Okay, now...
But we've got quite a few that have come in. A lot of them are food, some of them are clothing, some of them are just informational. So it kind of varies from year to year. But if please get a hold of me if anyone out there is interested in becoming a vendor, because I'd love to hear from you.
Now, what about the different races? Now, you're going to have 3 days of racing, and I want to get back to the actual racing. Do they qualify in various heats and then go on to a finals? Do they have different races depending on the size of the engine and the boat? Or tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we have racing that starts Friday. And that's mainly just some qualifications and finals for our 1 and 2.5 hydros. And then we have, on Friday, we have a Grand Prix shootout, which is a pretty exciting event. We've had it, I think this year will be our 4th year that we've done that. Chris Kenner, he's an Australian that lives in the United States. He kind of makes his home in Boise in Southern California. But he puts that on for me and does all of the planning for that. But this year he told me that the prize money for just that race alone is $5,000, and that is going to be split between the top 3 boats. That particular race is made up of 3 different classes of races of boats. You've got your K-Racing runabouts, your super stocks, and your pro stocks, and those are the ones that are I would think that the most popular at the event.
Okay,
so
now
that's going to be really exciting to know on Friday. As far as the rest of the racing, Zeb, that's kind of what it boils down to. Is we've got our qualifiers, and depending on the sizes of classes, sometimes we have 2 races of qualifiers, and then we have a last chance qualifier for a few of the boat classes. And then they just kind of go to the finals and then just kind of go for broke, I guess.
Well, Kristy,
trying to get that, Faulkner Memorial Trophy and mink coat that we give away.
Oh, boy, the mink coat right there in June where it might be 90 degrees. That sounds appropriate. Listen, let me ask you this. Is there a time and a place that the general public can go see the boats without the racing and kind of meet the drivers and everything and find out more information?
Yeah, actually, we're kicking off the weekend of events on Thursday, June 25th, at the Rupert Square. It's our show and shine. We're going to have our racer registration there, so there will be a lot of racers out there. And then we're also going to be doing a fish fry that evening to benefit the Wilson Theater Restoration Project, and that begins at 6 and it goes till about 10 o'clock.
Okay. Now, it all starts on June 26th, actually on the 25th, the night before at the Rupert Square, and different races. Now, what times each day do you want the public to know to be there?
Well, as far as racing goes, our gates open about 9 a.m. I know a lot of people go in and like to get their where they're wanting to sit set up and all of their stuff hauled in. Friday, we have testing on Friday. So our testing goes between 11 a.m. and about approximately 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You will see boats out on the water just testing and tuning, making sure that they get their boats tuned into our really nice elevation that we've got here in Idaho, in Burley. Our Friday night shoot, let's see, the 1 liters and 2.5 liters will probably start roughly about 4 o'clock that afternoon for their qualifications and their finals for that day. And then the shootout about 5.
Okay.
It all depends on kind of how smoothly everything goes.
All right.
As far as racing on Saturday and Sunday, gates opening at 9 a.m. again, and then racing starts at 11, and it's 2 full days of racing on Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, boy. Now, my next question is, have you personally ever raced one of these boats?
I haven't raced one of the boats, but I have drove them. I've drove my dad's boat, and I've drove my brother's boat. And they both, they have competition jet boats.
I see.
So I've been out there. I haven't been alone in the boat, but I've been in there with my dad and my brother. Got a funny story for you. I was, when I was driving my dad's boat, I wanted to go around the island. I wanted to get that whole feeling of what it feels like to just kind of be out there and be pressing that gas pedal down. And I asked him if I could go around one more time, and he said sure. And we were just going around one more time, and he just kind of nonchalantly leans his left foot over and just mashes on the top of my foot, and I didn't know what to think. It was intense and crazy, and just one of the best things that I've ever done.
Well, how fast will those boats go top speed, Kristy?
Depending on the class, we've got the race. Probably the top classes will go 120, 130, depending on how tuned in and how souped up their motors are. We've got other classes, like my dad's, for instance, the competition jets. They probably go about between 95. They might be able to get up to 100, depending on water conditions.
Oh, my.
We have some that are the GPS 95s. They have to keep it under 95, so that kind of keeps it more to like driving. All
right.
I guess the driver's abilities to be able to go out there and drive with other racers, but they have to keep it, under that 95.
All right. I've only got about a minute and a half left. Real quick, what is the admission charge to get into the Idaho Regatta for this year?
Yes. Friday is our Fan Appreciation Day. It's $7 to get in on Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday, if you are doing it at the gate, purchasing a ticket at the gate, it's $25 for each day. We also have weekend passes available, $45 if you're purchasing it at the gate. But right now I do have a special running and our tickets are available online. I do have early bird passes, and those are $30 for the early bird passes, and that will get you in Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Oh, my. Well,
so
listen.
It's just $10 a day, and you could go and just have a weekend of fun.
Oh, it sounds great, and we're going to order up the weather of all sunshine and blue skies. Kristy Dilworth, thank you. I certainly appreciate the knowledge on this. Send me all the updated information sheets, if you would, please. I'll look forward to it, and we'll get you back on the air again, and we'll talk about it as we draw closer to the Idaho Regatta for 2015. How's that?
Hey, I appreciate it, Zeb. Yeah, if they're interested in tickets, they just need to go to our website, idahoregatta.org,
okay,
and purchase tickets right off of our website.
Very good, and you did a great job. Thanks, Kristy. I'll be talking to you in the near future.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Nice lady right there, Kristy Dilworth, heading up the Idaho Regatta for 2015. Holy smokes, wheels, we got to get the weather in here. Why, my goodness, I'm running late. The weather's brought to you this hour by Scarro's Meats, selling taste one bite at a time. They're located at 331 North Road, Jerome. Telephone number 324-7657. Don't forget, they've got the tax return meat package of beef, pork, chicken, and cheese. All kinds of delicious food for you at Scarro's Meats. Don't miss it. Right now, here's Michael Rogers' weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers is at the ranch. Okay, you got your choice. Listen very carefully, okay? If you had a choice between sunny weather, 18, 20 hours of daylight, and mosquitoes for a week with a high of 80 in Fairbanks, Alaska, or would you rather have all rain, temperatures in the 60s, and no mosquitoes? Which one would you want? Yeah, I thought so. Well, that's what your good weather is going to be like for pretty much the rest of the week. El Nino's kicking in, but you got a series of storms, or I like to call it a parade of storms, coming to a city near you because you get finished this one, you got another one coming. But when it's over said and done, look at the good part. You don't have the mosquitoes, and the sun goes down down to where you can go to sleep at night and it doesn't bother you. So enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Michael, thank you very much. Brought to you by Don Scarrow and Scarrow's Meats. They do sell taste one bite at a time, and they're located at 331 North Road, Jerome. Telephone number to remember, 324-7657, Scarrow's Meats. Tomorrow on the program, I've got to get through this and then tell you a little bit about our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Don't forget, tomorrow on the program, Dave Bigo is going to be on at 9:06. We'll start at 8:06 with our open forum and have a whole bunch of interesting and informative stories that first hour. Then Dave Bigo from Indianapolis, Indiana will be on at 9:06, followed at 9:30 by former House of Representatives, a great guy, on the water board, Bert Stevenson, from over there north of Rupert. And then, of course, at 10 o'clock, we're going to have the Idaho Fish and Game on tomorrow morning with Kelton Hatch. So that's what's brewing on the horizon for tomorrow morning. By the way, too, don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the very best in tires. I'm going to try it again. Here we go. And they'll supply for you the free pre-trip safety check. I did it. I got it out. And all the great tires, too, they've got a lot of them on sale, like the Wildcat AT2 on sale for the light truck and SUVs, and they do have the very best in brake value promise. All you have to do is stop into any one of the 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. The very best of brake service and front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, everything right there for your driving safety. So stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. The best. Thank you, everybody, for a great, fun program this morning. And I want to thank Wheels over at the station for getting everybody lined up on the telephone. Thank you very much. Going to be another wet day. It's going to stay this way for the next couple of days, according to Michael Rogers Weather. And we'll be back here again tomorrow morning, starting at 8:06, right here on K-Bar, 12:30 a.m., and then streaming live on the internet at zebbell.com. And you can not only listen to it, but you can watch it. We got a couple of in-house cameras, so be sure and tune it in. Until tomorrow morning at 8:06, remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be. We'll see you then. Good day, everybody.